Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. Something a little bit different. An Atari 2600, I think. It's the six button one, this. Woody. Yeah, looking a bit bashed up here. It should be able to clean it up quite nicely, I think. There's no major marks on this, it's just dirt. I think it's predominantly dirt. Once this has had a really good scrub, on some plastic polish and stuff on it, it should come out quite well. But that's if it's repairable. And I say if, in the strongest possible sense, really, because I'll tear this down in a minute, you can have a look on the inside, but from what I understand with these, you've got a CPU, I forget what it is, it's something like 6507, is it? Which is 6502 with some I/O, I think, don't quote me. And I think there's a RAM chip on here. It might be the RAM chip that's combined with the I/O, actually, I'm not sure. 6532 I think it is, so am I going to be able to get replacement RAM if it's the RAM? If the RAM is merged with something else, which it could be, you need another 2600 to set the board off. You're not going to get one of those from somewhere. Unless you make something out of the CPLD or something, I don't know, that might be possible. And beyond that, there's not much in these really. There's got to be some passive components and things there, modulator, not bridge rectifier, voltage. I think these take DC and I don't think they take AC. Let's just have a look underneath. I don't know what it says. No, it doesn't. Channel select, that's presumably for the modulator there. Just looking how you get in this, I think there's probably these screws here. About an angle though, so you can see that. Yeah. So I guess there's 2, 6, 4, 6, 8. Looks like 8 screws to get in there. Still got all its rubber feet. That's interesting. I thought I would have lost those by now. But yeah, power supply. 9 volt as far as I understand. Not sure about the polarity. I'm not even going to connect anything up to this until I've actually taken it to bits and had a look inside. Got some interesting pitting going on these here. These are well corroded. Going to need to do some work to restore those, assuming they are restorable. Seems to be switching alright, I think. So I've obviously got no controller for this. I'm guessing standard joystick will work on this. Yeah, it must do, because you got these original 2600 joysticks for these, didn't you? Single button, so I could probably plug my cruiser or something in there, or the zip stick or something. But yeah, sorry, I keep coming back to this power thing. Talking about the power thing, yeah, there's a voltage regulator inside, and there'll be a couple of caps and things, so could be something wrong there, hopefully. So let's get the lid off now and have a look inside. There we go, so I've just got in there. Voltage regulator. Capacitor. There's not much going on in here really, is there? A couple of switches, another cap, more caps, modulator. Yeah, a little subboard there for the controllers and things. So I'm guessing this must be where the logic is. How the hell you get inside it remains to be seen. There's a broken bit there, is that? Oh shit, labels coming off and bits of rubber. I think the rubber's probably one of these little, it is, it's off that one there, isn't it? So yeah, you can replace that with something else. God, this is filthy, absolutely filthy. So I guess the next thing we're probably going to need to do here is probably unscrew this just to get the board out of this casing here. So there we go, the this ribbon connector just disconnects from the top board, and then as long as you've unscrewed the 2 screws holding it into that metal case there, it's usually that way up. It'll come straight out if you're careful. Yeah, so it's interesting it's all socketed. Can't see what that is there. It's got an Atari part number on it anyway, 60107880, is it? There's nothing familiar there whatsoever. Yeah, part numbers are just mysterious to me at this stage on there. They all seem to be Atari part numbers, or perhaps not Atari, but no, they are. Atari always used to begin with C0, I think. Yeah, that's got an Atari part number on it as well, that's chip there. think one of these is called Tier, which is effectively ULA or graphics combined with graphics stuff, I think. Yeah, and then one of those. So I guess one of those large DIP 40s, whatever, is going to be Tier. One of them is going to be the CPU. Hard to tell which. You've got a couple of crystals back here actually. A couple of transistors, an adjustment there. Not sure what that's for. Yeah, not much going on really. Interesting. Anyway, put that down for a sec. Let's just have a look at this board again. So, yeah, again, not much going on here really. I guess I can test this, test the power and stuff, you know, get a DC power jack into this when the logic is not connected and just check, see what's coming out of that regulator, if anything. It'd be really nice if that regulator was completely dead. That would be really sweet, and they could just swap it out and hopefully it might work. But yeah, I say I don't hold high hopes with this, because if there is something wrong with this, you know, this is described as sort of you know, spares repair. Anything wrong with either of these three chips, and maybe even that one as well, might be lucky. I might be able to swap that out for something else. I don't know yet until I do a bit more research. But if anything's wrong with the main three, any of those main three chips on there, it's pretty much game over for this really. I'd have to get another 2600, and the reality is if you get another 2600 that's working for spares, you know, do you really need this? You know, you may as well just use the whole other system. So it's questionable as to what you could actually use this machine for regards to spares, other than maybe switches and the cartridge slot maybe. Unless, you know, one of these chips might be okay on here, you know, could be lucky, might be able to use this to fix another system. But I'm not going to do anything with the logic board yet, at least until I've checked out the power, so we'll do that now. Just cleaned up this board a bit. Yeah, so it's looking a bit cleaner now, the socket and stuff. I'm not sure about actually getting inside that. I might have to take it off the board, might even have to desolder it if I want to try and clean up the contacts, but I'll find a way of doing that later. But for the moment, let's have a look underneath the board here. I might just resolder some of the points on some of these chips here. I might even just go over all the main packages there. I don't know if you can see, let's see if I can zoom in, but here there's a very questionable joint. I don't think it's causing a problem, but if I just try and get focus, just a sec. See that? It's almost like a bit of a dry joint. So I think I'll just go over these main chips anyway. Probably go over the sockets, you know, the cart socket connector there as well, and maybe even the connector that joins the two boards together there. Everything else is looking alright, I think. Well, there was not really much to show there, other than, like I say, I cleaned up the switches here with some WD-40, some sandpaper on the shafts there just because they were a bit corroded. I need to clean up the case, which I'll do now. But other than that, it was just that resoldering on the board, really, resoldering the connector, resoldered that one pin on that chip. But I'll switch this on, I'll show you. I can get it back on. There we go, it's working. So, just got a cruiser plugged in here, because I've not got a 2600 joystick. Sounds alright, and I've just tested this, it seems okay. You can see some graphical corruptions there on the left hand side. I'm not sure if that's indicative of a RAM fault or whether this game displays like that normally. No idea, I'll have to check that out. Could be that there's a RAM fault with this, but this game's, you know, this particular game is okay. No idea, I'll check some videos out of this particular game, I think, and see what's going on with the left hand side of the screen there. I'm hoping that that's just the way it is, but this game certainly works anyway. Right, well that's been on for a few hours now, so I'm just going to clean it up. Let's just make sure the sound's still working. Yeah. Sweet, right, let's clean it up. there you go, you can see all cleaned up now. It's looking pretty sweet. Just need to do the underneath and the sides, but the actual top part of the case there is it's come out really well. There's a couple of marks, you know, that's a permanent little mark there. Might be able to clean it up a bit more. I'll have another go at that one, I think. But for the most part, yeah, it's not too bad. So, you know, a few scratches and things on it. Yeah, it's not too bad. You get some wear in here on the edge, but yeah, the logo's looking good. The wood's still in one piece. Oh, it's not really wood, is it? Oh, maybe it is, I don't know. Yeah, these are called woodies for that very reason, the front there. Only got this one game to test it with, but seems okay. And incidentally, the way I'm powering this at the moment, I'm just using one of those you know, configurable power supplies. You know, you get that little end piece there that swaps off, so you can change the polarity and change the piece. So yeah, you need, looks like a 3.5mm. It's almost like a mono headphone jack, and it's centre, the tip positive. Yeah, it's important you get it the right way around. But yeah, sweet. I think these buttons are all working right as well. It's hard to tell the difficulty because on this particular game there's no visual indication when you change it, but if I press the game select, I'll show you. If I press the select button, you see the little orange icon. There's 2 and there's 3, and then it goes to a blue one and then back round again. So I'm guessing that's working, and the game select and the game reset, obviously that works as well. So interesting. One other thing I'll point out as well is the colour black and white doesn't seem to do anything. I mean, I didn't expect it would, maybe other than let the cart know that you run in black and white mode. So if it's a game where, you know, the colour of the sprites there could be an issue if you run in black and white, I guess that's what, you know, how this works, that this cart knows you're running black and white, changes the colour accordingly, because, you know, switching over does nothing unless there's a fault with that. I might need to check. I'll do some research online and post that, you know, put a comment or something on this if I discover anything else. But I figure that you know, it doesn't actually convert it to black and white. It's just for you to identify the TV type you're using, I think. The other interesting thing I'll point out with these as well is I was looking at the specs for these, and they've got 128 bytes of RAM, which is unbelievable. That's such a small amount, and there's a few things you can sort of glean from that information. Really, is because there's such a small quantity there. There's no way the cart is loaded into RAM and then run from the from RAM. It kind of makes sense, you know, thinking about things logically, that the cart's probably, you know, connected straight to the CPU there in terms of the reset vector and stuff, and it boots from the cart, runs the code directly from the cart, and then that 128 bytes is probably used for score, you know, character position on the sprite position on the screen and stuff, and a few other bits and pieces that obviously that are coded in there that would need those 128 bytes. But that's why there's such a small quantity there, and I guess that means it could be quite difficult to determine where you got a RAM fault in some scenarios. You could find that the scoring doesn't work on a game, whereas you put the next game in, you know, the attribute, the characters aren't moving right or something, or they move a certain way and then they wrap around the screen. There could be all sorts of weird things like that going on, I would guess, because of how the RAM is used in these, you know, literally just for a few variables and things, and the majority of the code there just runs straight from the cart. So even when you've got a complete RAM failure, the game would possibly still work. You know, you might, well, I say completely, it might not. Things like loops and things might not work, but yeah, if you had a RAM fault in this, it might be difficult to, you know, work out. You wouldn't get the typical thing you get on a lot of systems where you just get weird colours and, you know, crashes and lockups and all that sort of stuff. You might actually just find each game behaves in a slightly more, you know, unusual way from the last game you tried. Some games might be flawless. So that's interesting. And that corruption on the left hand side, those little lines, I did check out some of the videos on YouTube, and you can see those there. There's little it's like there's a line of pixels missing or something, or some black lines overlaid. That's normal on this particular game. Could just be the way the Atari works. You know, the developers weren't able to get around that problem. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.